Hey guys, welcome back. This is the last video for this unit, and it is on human environment interaction. This one should actually be pretty brief, but again, like always, if you have any questions, make sure that you write them down and bring them to me when we meet next. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we need to know what human environment interaction is. Very important definition for you. And that is the relationship between people and their environment. And we are going to study how people depend, adapt to, and modify their environment. All right? Those are the three different ways in which people are going to interact with their environment. People depend on their environment. Humans rely on food, water, and raw materials that they extract from the earth in order to survive or make their lives more comfortable. So that is one way in which people interact with their environment, by depending on it. Another way in which people interact with their environment is by adapting to it. So humans accommodate their lives to suit the environment they live in. Like the people you see in the picture, they need to travel through the snow, and so they use special equipment to get through it. And that is one way in which they're adapting. They're also wearing thick jackets to adapt to the climate that they're in. On the right, you see people who are also interacting with their environment by adapting to it. They can't change the fact that it's raining, but they can use umbrellas to shield themselves from the water. So this is an adaptation. All right, so how do people adapt to their environment other than dressing for the weather? Well, technology is another way in which people adapt to their environment. Humans are going to use a lot of technological advances and devices in order to protect themselves from their environment or to make their lives easier. And what you see in the picture are satellites, and that is one way in which people have adapted to the long distances that they are from one another. So they set up these satellites so that they can communicate faster. That's an example of technology being used as an adaptation to the environment. Another way in which people interact with their environment is that they modify it. So humans change their environment in order to survive or to make their lives more comfortable. And both of the pictures that you see here are examples of a modification. So what you see in the first picture is the emission of smog into the environment. So there's pollution. People do pollute the environment when they interact with it sometimes. They change the landscape. They might clear out trees so that they can make buildings to live in or to work in. And so that's another way in which they interact and they modify their environment. So again, that modification means to change it. And people make changes to their environment in order to adapt, make it adapt to them. All right, so here is an example of terrace farming, and this is a mountain that has been carved out by people in order to grow things on, right? So you look how nice and flat they've made it. That's an interaction in which they've changed it in order to make the environment suit their needs. So in class, we played a game, and that is adaptation or modification. So you have to guess by looking at these pictures which it is. So here, are people adapting to the environment or are they changing it? So think about that. All right, and the answer to this one is that they're adapting. They're using boats to travel through the water, right? They can't do anything about the water there. Okay, and here is another one. Is this person adapting or modifying? So if you think about it, it is a modification because he is using the animals to grow, to do agricultural labor. And so here he is planting things in the ground that usually aren't there, and that is a modification. So in this one, this would be, of course, a adaptation because people are again with their umbrellas dealing with the flooding that the environment has subjected them to, right? So they haven't changed it, they are simply adapting to it. All right, here is another example of adaptation. All right, they're using the camels to travel through the desert. They can't change the fact that there's a desert there, so they have found a way to adapt to it by using camels to travel. This one is obviously not part of the environment, so it was put there by humans, and this is a modification. Here we have people who have created fire in order to stay warm. So this is, it could be both a change in the fact that they're burning something, probably wood, to keep warm, but it can also be adaptation. They're using fire to stay warm on a cold night. All right, this person here is fishing, so they are adapting. They're using a tool. Remember I told you about technology being used to adapt to the environment? Well, here is a fishing pole that is also technology, and it's being used to get fish from the ocean, and so that is an adaptation. The people in this picture are using scuba gear to adapt to their environment. They're not changing anything around them. In order to be inside of the ocean, they need to use this equipment, this technology, so it is an adaptation. This one here is an example of a modification. So there are buildings, and that is a mill that is powered by water. So they're using the water. They are depending on the environment in that way. They're using the water to power some sort of machine inside of that building. So this is a modification. All right, here's another example of technology that is being used to adapt to the environment. So by getting on a plane such as this one, we can shorten the distances between places. This is an adaptation. And that concludes the slideshow. Again, this is the last one of the unit. So thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, make sure that you bring them to me the next time we meet in class.